We Burn, We Shiver, a two-person exhibition by Martin Boyce and Ugo Rondinone, touches down this month at Sculpture Center in Queens, New York. While Rondinone, a New York-based Swiss artist, curated Glasgow-based sculptor Boyce into a 2007 exhibition at Paris's Palais de Tokyo, the artists have never exhibited work together, nor met until now. We Burn, We Shiver comprises a sparse array of objects, Rondinone sculptures of a river rock, flattened cardboard box, and 19th century fireplace sit ponderously about the exhibition space, illuminated by Boyce's web of fluorescent lights. Objects weave in and out of conversation, and a meditative air prevails, an amazing fact considering that the exhibition is not a collaboration, but a meeting of two separate bodies of work. ArtReview caught up with the artists and with Sculpture Center curator Mary Ceruti to learn more about the inception of this unique show.
I was very confident that nothing can go wrong as I just see the base of Martin's work as something I can share, his interest in human condition. And also the fact that his work is not ironic, so gives already a big common ground where it's up to the air what it will become, but it's not something out of it shares a similar temperature.
We would keep telling each other what we might do, but then at one point Ugo kind of said, although we should probably, it's fine to tell each other what we're going to do, but we shouldn't really necessarily react.
The main thing should stay that you work as an artist and as an individual, so it wouldn't be question and answer and counterpoint and reaction.
Can you guys tell me about the specific works in this exhibition and what you were thinking about as far as what you wanted to put in and how you considered the space?
So my specific works, they are cast in bronze and filled with lead, and they just cast reality. That's the main thing, and this reality get weighted through the lead. And specifically here, I thought it's an unusual space, as it's not a white box, and it's a busy space, so you have a lot of distraction. I thought I have to set in at least one large work, so the art can define his place.
And what about with the exterior space?
In a formal way, it's the contrary what I did inside. Here I took something artificial, make it real, and outside I took something real, the stones, and gave him an artificial surface.
The spider's web, in a way, when it's in its cleanest kind of symmetrical kind of form, has this relationship with the grid. And of course, you know, the city and the grid, and then this idea of you know, imagining the city grid kind of, you know, emotionally kind of breaking or kind of twisting out of shape, you know, with one detail kind of breaks, the whole thing kind of twists. Its breaking kind of completes it or stops it or slows it down.
Boyce and Rondinone's use of Sculpture Center's exterior and interior spaces speaks to their broader concerns with issues of public and private, social space versus that of the hermetic creative mind, and the city and nature. Boyce often culls his sculptural objects, wall texts, and photographs from fragments of modernist utopian design. Among his works in this exhibition is a mobile, hanging from the fluorescent web, of modified Charles and Ray Ames leg splints and L-stands, objects originally conceived as perfect marriages of functionality and efficient design, and since given high art seal of approval. In that gap between an object's intended use and its aesthetic remainder, Boyce carries out his melancholic, lyrical inquiry. Rondinone has willfully developed a more eclectic body of work, encompassing everything from romantic landscape drawing to color field painting, the seemingly discordant and incoherent assembly of his sources united by his sense for theatrical aplomb. Rooms within rooms and architecture reminiscent of Tony Smith may arise in the gallery space. Windows may offer a peek outside or merely reflect, with opaque perspex, the gallery interior. Yet one thing that persists in both Boyce and Rondinone's installations is an atmosphere shared by their disparate works. So how did the artists find their double billing affected their respective atmospherics?
As we were installing it, became aware that only Ugo's work touched the ground and none of my work touched the ground. And so, but you have two sculptors, or essentially we work primarily with kind of sculpture and also this relationship that the works have with gravity, that the gravity is incredibly present in Ugo's work. And we were saying, well, it's funny that the light piece, you don't have this sense of it being drawn to the floor. It has this lightness. And also with the mobile pieces, they have this of course a relationship with gravity, but they have this lightness that's it's more about something being suspended in time or in space rather than being pulled. And this was not something that we really sat down and kind of thought about, but it's the way it seems to have happened.
Their work is quite different in a lot of ways, but I think both of them also are interested in creating these sort of psychologically charged spaces. That made it both challenging and wonderful, because here are two artists that are both really adept at creating an atmosphere in a space, and then to have them sort of trying to share the same space was what gives it a charge in a way. And I think that was part of the original conversations we had together about the show doesn't necessarily have to complement each other. Like, the work doesn't have to complement each other. It can assert itself and argue. There's
a kind of interest in the sort of the poetry or the magic of art, that something that you can never really put your finger on, but something that's so that the work can sometimes be visually, quite hard, or kind of have this a kind of darkness or a certain kind of quality, but then also it sort of treads this line between that and this kind of poetic quality.